This sitting is resumed.
Order number 9, sir. In the name of the Honourable Minister of Housing, Lands and Maintenance, to move the passing of a resolution in accordance with Section 5 of the Crown Lands Vesting and Disposal Act, Chapter 225, to approve the vesting of the parcel of land situate at Sergeant's Village in the parish of Christchurch in this island, and more particularly described in the schedules, mainly for a public purpose, namely housing development.
Honorary member for St. George South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in the chamber, Mr. Speaker, to move the passing of a resolution in accordance with Section 5 of the Crown Land Vesting and Disposal Act to approve the land, some 7,021 square meters of land at Sergeant's Christchurch and in the National Housing Corporation for the purpose of housing development. And in November 23rd of last year, the Honourable House approved the compulsory acquisition of this parcel of land. They were in two parcels, one 122.2 square meters and the other 5,798 square meters, which give the total of 1.73 acres of land for the purpose of increasing the housing opportunities in Sergeant Village. And that is in the constituency of Christchurch West. And the honourable member for Christchurch West, who sits next to me, was the minister at the time on November 23rd when we had a debate with respect to the acquisition of this land. We are now debating the vesting of the land in national housing. Mr. Speaker, we know that we have a project over the next 5 years to build 10,000 homes for middle income and low income persons in this country. And this piece of land, this 1.73 acres of land, will provide some 9 duplexes and 2 single units. 9 duplexes, that's 18 houses, and 2 single units, make it 20 housing solutions within the constituency of Christchurch West. And I know the honourable member who sits next to me, the member for Christchurch West, will speak on this resolution. And it comes at a time, Mr. Speaker, when we have started the process of constructing the 10,000 homes. And, you know, when I look across at the member for St. Michael East, I recall him saying that I am not Houdini and that this is more than a mammoth task. But what I can say, Mr. Speaker, as I stand here with all honesty and my integrity intact, that we have land in this country to build more than 10,000 houses. And I spoke in this chamber earlier this year on derelict properties and vacant lots. The Ministry of Housing has prepared a paper for cabinet and is being vetted and discussed with the Attorney General before we bring it to Parliament to utilize, to see how best we can utilize without disadvantaging any landowner in this country who possesses vacant lots and who possesses derelict properties. There are some 15,000 derelict properties in this country and some 20,000 vacant lots. Give them, or 10,000 vacant lots, 25,000 properties in this country between derelict and vacant lots. And while the Attorney General is busy seeking to come up with the best possible legislation and policy decision to utilize these vacant lots and derelict properties, we are still in the process of well, AG, we're still in the process of constructing houses. And we saw at Vesper Gardens in the media recently visits by the Prime Minister, visits by me, the Minister of Housing, and visits by the senior minister responsible for infrastructure, where some 160 houses are being constructed. And we saw homeowners given the right to move into their homes when the time is right. A young lady, 30 years of age, and a civil servant, 38 years of age. And these persons earn between $2,000 to $4,000 per month net. And we're able to provide housing solutions for those persons, for teachers, policemen, nurses. And soon to be, there will be a discussion with the nursing council, whereby we will sit and give the opportunity to many civil servants, whether nurses, nurses assistant, general workers. We'll take them through the process to teach them or show them the way how to qualify for these homes with their salaries being within that bracket of $2,000 to $4,000. Mr. Speaker, this week, we intend to host a mortgage fair this weekend, where we will have the financial institutions take persons who we at National Housing would have pre-qualified to own their homes. And I just call that category of 2,000 to 4,000. But we also have a category of persons who earn net less than $2,000 per month, who will also qualify or pre-qualify through National Housing to own a home, whether it is a light gear steel structure, whether it is a wooden structure, or if it is a structure that is being built by National Housing. And we recognize from early that National Housing Corporation, despite we are vesting these lands in the National Housing Corporations, we must have partnerships in an effort to build out the housing stock that we have so articulated and promulgated, not only in our manifesto, but on these floors of Parliament, what we call the silent revolution. We will partner with, and we have started the process, we have formed a partnership with East West Barbados, where we are in the process of constructing light gear steel homes. The senior minister, I know he will speak on those later. And there are 150 houses to be built as a start in this year of light gear steel homes, utilizing some 103 foundations, because we'll be building duplexes and quadruplexes. And what we are seeing here that will be built on the lands at Sargent, 1.734 acres, will be duplexes. And they will be light gear steel homes, and then 2 single units. So we have some 20 housing solutions at Sargent. We are serious about constructing and building 10,000 homes. Soon to be at White Park Road, where we call Alleen's Court. By the end of October, and probably before, we will have some 20 units completed. And these are rental units, and persons within the city, persons within the other environs, close vicinity, St. Michael West, persons will be able to have the opportunity to own their own homes, beginning by renting these homes, these 20 units, and thereafter, at some point in time later, to be determined, we will see home ownership. And these are for persons who are probably below the 2,000 income group. And these are persons whose net salary are probably less than $1,000 and who can't afford to own a home at this stage, but they will start out by renting a home. And I am confident that our plan to construct 1,400 homes We are well on the way in this financial year, 2022 to 2023. We are well on the way. And we have a target of 14,005. And I can say to you, Allen's Court, 20 quadruplex units, Parsland extension. We have just finished some 22 single detached units there. Coconut Hall in St. Lucie. And the honorable member for St. Lucie will be pleased to know that next Friday, we'll be journeying to Coconut Hall with the member for St. Lucie to let the people know that we are very serious about building some 22 units, 4 duplexes, and other singles, 14 singles, and 4 duplexes. And the honorable member will be there to witness the infrastructural works, the groundbreaking for the infrastructural work, started by the good member for Christchurch West. And by the end of this financial year, the member for St. Lucie will have at Coconut Hall a mixture of like Gale Steel Homes by a partnership between National Housing Corporation and East West, and also a partnership between National Housing and Joe Villa, which are wooden homes. And the people of St. Lucie will be pleased to know that that is within the first year of construction. And we have started. So those persons who get on the airwaves, the pundits and the naysayers, and who say that we can't build 10,000 houses, tell them, as the young men will say, look out, watch out, because we have started. And we are coming to St. Andrew also. We'll be in St. Philip, St. Thomas, Farmers, Leadville, Christchurch, Applewood and St. George, Rices and St. Philip. Only last week, the member for St. Philip South and I had a conversation where he has allocated persons from St. Philip to occupy those units at Rices, some 11 units at Rices. But we're not finished there. Todd's. And I heard the member for St. Peter, but I can't do it all today. But rest assured that within the next few months, you will be able to tap these chambers on and even jump up. I don't want you to breach the rules of the house by jumping up, but I know you will be happy member for St. Peter very soon. So keep your hands down, and I know coming very soon. Westers Endurance. We have some 56 units to be built there. Todd's in St. George, those 15 have finished. And, you know, I want to thank the member for Christchurch West. He was the minister of housing then, and he was able to construct even before sergeants. I'm doing sergeants for the member, but he did Todd's for me, and I want to thank him. Those 15 units at Todd's, they're occupied by people from St. George North and persons from St. George South. And we were able to provide these 15 housing solutions thus far for the people of St. George. But Mr. Speaker, I just want to add that we have at NHC Designs approved for housing projects. We have infrastructure works approved. I think we'll be awarding tenders shortly for infrastructure works at Concordia Gardens. And those houses, I am looking for the number of houses that will be built in Concordia Gardens. Some 48.4 acres. And this will come in year one. We will start the construction of 60 single detached units, 20 duplexes is 84. 94 single detached and 20 duplexes at Concordia Gardens. And we'll be approving tenders. National Housing Board will be approving tenders to get the road infrastructure started, the road work started within the next month. Clifton as well, Coconut Hall in St. Lucie, Branchbury Ginger Works in St. Joseph, and a few more road works are expecting to commence in several of these areas within the next 4 to 6 weeks. But we recognize that in an effort to build 10,000 homes, infrastructure works consumes the most time in housing development. And working jointly with Tongue and Country Planning Division. Tongue and Country Planning Development. True. No call planning and development. Thank you, Senior Minister and Member for Christchurch West. We work closely to ensure that Town and Country Planning Development, Town Planning Development, and the Ministry of Housing work assiduously to get these infrastructural works completed. Because without infrastructure, we can put up houses, but what type of housing we're going to have? What type of infrastructure we will have? Water, road infrastructure, which is critical, lighting. These are some of the things we need to do before we can build homes. And those are the works that we are embarking upon at this stage at Concordia Gardens in St. Philip, Coconut Hall in St. Lucie, Branchbury in St. Joseph, and a few others. Mr. Speaker, the Hope Inc. was formed, a commercial state-owned entity, to construct homes in this country for the income category 2,000 to 4,000. And we recognize, and I said in this chamber, that we have some teachers who earn just over 4,000, and soon to come back to Parliament and to Cabinet would be a paper to approve the increase of this net income from 2,000 to 4,000 to 2,000 to 5,000, so we can accommodate some teachers who just fall outside the 4,000 bracket. And I just want to say to you, this has already been approved by the Prime Minister verbally, and she has asked that we bring it back to Cabinet so we have formal approval, and thereafter we are on our way again. But the Hope Inc., in that category, 2,000 to 4,000, soon to be 2,000 to 5,000, will be constructing some 800 homes this year. And they've started, like I said, 160 units at Vesper Garden. They've started at Pool, and the member for St. John, I know he's happy. He visited some months ago to see the infrastructure work started, and he's very happy. We are doing some 201 single detached units with townhouses at Pool, and on some 23.1 acres. And we will finish these by March 2023. So when persons say that we can't build 10,000 houses, I continue to repeat that it is doable. So what I have here, being built by the Hope Inc., 160 units at Vesper Gardens, 201 units at Pool in St. John, 90 units at Colleton in St. Lucie. So the member for St. Lucie, you are getting your fair share. Then Hope Premium now, where we're looking at above the 5,000 brackets. On some 30 acres of land, they have started building single detached units, and thus far they have built over 35 single detached units, and of the 200 units to be built, 100 units will be built in this financial year, and that is to cater to those persons earning over $5,000, and we call it Hope Premium. So, Mr. Speaker, these lands to be vested in national housing at Sargents were formerly owned by Miss Marjorie Payne and Miss Jermaine Atkins, and they are shown on a plan by a land surveyor dated August 26, 2021, and they're recorded at the Lands and Surveys Department in September 2021. And I want to say also, Mr. Speaker, I forgot the East-West project at Hackett Hall, because the member for St. Michael East will be pleased to know, and I know the member for Christchurch West will speak on this. He just showed me photos of, those are quadruplex units at Hackett Hall. There's some 3 quadruplex units at Hackett Hall. There are 12 units in all, if you want. Quads are 4, so 3 quads give 12 single units in the constituency of St. Michael East. And I'm sure that is all for now, but we are coming back to you, member for St. Michael East, with duplex units on the other side once we put in the road infrastructure. So you can get ready to send your people to national housing, member for St. Michael East, because they have to come in and pre-qualify, if you want to use that term, because we have to take them through the process of letting them know, to get the mortgage certificate, what they're entitled to, how they will be paying the mortgage companies. But I don't want to forget, we are utilizing photovoltaic at Vesper Gardens. No, I call that satisfying my colleagues and the people of this country, because we are not building homes in one area like Sergeants, but we are going all over Barbados, in St. Philip, Christchurch, the city, St. John. We are building homes across Barbados, St. George, so that every single constituency will see a housing development and housing unit, not only for working class people, but for middle income people and upper. So we are catering to all categories in this country within the housing stock. We have to enfranchise our people. It is often good to say, own a piece of this rock. But there are persons who own a piece of this rock for years, but were not able to own a home. Remember, for St. Philip South, there are many persons who own a piece of this rock, but they were not able to own a home. And I think owning a home is better than owning a piece of this rock. Because at the end of the day, you need some place to raise your children, to teach them when they member for St. Philip West, when they leave the schools, they have to go home. It didn't stop there. So you need a home so they can do their homework, where you can feed people. We don't want persons only to be fed in shelters, but you need a home where we can raise children. And that is the foundation for our future, our children. So we have to construct these homes with a view that Barbados, we are preparing Barbados for 50 years down the road and beyond, because that's when our children will become members of parliament. And if we don't have good infrastructure, then we will witness a decay in our society. So we need a good housing stock as part of our development thrust, and also to put people back to work. We have employed over 250 contractors to put people back into their homes after the freak storm and Hurricane Elsa. I know we have been criticized for it, and I said recently at not Rock Hall, I remember for St. Philip, where is that I went, that I spoke? Work Hall, thank you. I spent a lot of time in St. Philip South. My good friend and parliamentary colleague, I try to make sure he's looked after, and he looks after me as well. We have good times in Philip South as well as St. Michael East. And I went to Work Hall, where we witnessed 2 homes being rebuilt from Hurricane Elsa. People can say that we have not done this work fast enough, but this is the first time any government in the history of politics in this country, or government in this country, have undertaken to rebuild 1,704 houses that were damaged by a hurricane at a cost of over $100 million. And if you check the history of hurricanes and the time taken to rebuild homes, you'll see that 14 months is the average to rebuild a home after a hurricane has struck a country. 14 months. And we have gone 12 months thus far. And while we can question whether we could have done better, some are saying we could have done better, but we have employed over 250 local contractors, persons. We didn't bring in anybody to construct or reconstruct those houses that were damaged from Hurricane Elsa. What we have done, though, we have some 42 that we will replace through that partnership of East West and National Housing, 42 homes. And persons whose homes cannot be repaired will get, those persons have signed up for East West homes, which are like Gage Steel homes. And I go there because we're embarking on a 10,000 silent revolution, building 10,000 homes in this country over the next 5 years. But we are also mindful, and people have to understand that while we are doing that, we are also repairing 1,704 homes across 3 agencies: Urban Development Commission, Rural Development Commission, and National Housing Corporation. You can research the archives. You can look at Hansard. And you can tell me, Mr. Speaker, I have the right to do that as well. Where in the history of this country have you rebuilt and repaired 1,704 homes at a cost of $100 million by any administration? And I want to congratulate the Prime Minister for undertaking, for taking up this task of repairing these 1,704 homes and rebuilding. Because out of the 1,704, I think it's a 60-40 split in terms of rebuild and repairs. But Mr. Speaker, I don't want to spend the entire day because we're going to have a number of housing resolutions, land acquisition resolutions to speak on in this lower chamber, because as we build out the housing stock in this country, 10,000 houses, we have to acquire lands. So land acquisition, we have one here, again, soon to be read in this parliament, land being acquired at Vesper Gardens. And I will be coming to St. George shortly. We will be discussing land acquisition at Brighton, Lower Brighton in St. George, where we will be constructing some 49 units there as well. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want with those words to beg that this resolution no pass. I'm obliged. No, we can lunch.
Honourable Leader of Government Business.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to move the suspension of the House until 2 p.m.
The question is that this honourable chamber be suspended until 2 p.m. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. We think the ayes have it. This honourable chamber stands suspended until 2 p.m.
I ain't hearing you, Doctor. That's it, talk.